Hello, everyone. Good afternoon from Jakarta, Indonesia. Well, welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining this webinar, Building a Customer-Centric Company, a webinar from Endeavor Indonesia for its Scale-Up Growth Program in partnership with Zendesk. My name is Elfitra, Communication Outreach Manager from Endeavor Indonesia, and I will be your host for today. Through Endeavor Scale-Up Growth Program, we support high potential, fast-growing entrepreneurs in Indonesia. It is a non-dilutive growth accelerator that gives entrepreneurs access to resources, successful founders, and industry leaders, and mentors across Endeavor's local and global network to scale them to the next level. Currently, we have 3 successful batches comprises of 32 fastest growing companies, 61 most promising entrepreneurs with 130 local and global mentors and coaches, and 167 total hours donated in mentoring, coaching, and panel discussions. Learn more about the program in scaleupgrowthprogram.org. Okay, now, in almost all businesses, we know that customer experience is not a new concept. However, it is undoubtedly an evolving one. As customers continue to work from home and make purchasing decisions virtually, prioritizing customer experience has never been more important, especially for early-stage startups. Whether you're focused on getting to market and landing your first customers, or you just close your seed round and you're ready to scale, Abhi Chandrasekar, Startup Success Manager from Zendesk for Startups, will soon share with you why customer experience matters and the improved results founders can see when customer experience is emphasized on day one. Using example from fast-growing startups who invested early in customer experience, we will walk you through how they leverage data for growth and for competing with established brands, best practices in engaging with customers in virtual world, and we will share what a customer experience strategy should look like, including when and how to roll out new customer experience features. Abhi, over to you.
All right, awesome. Thank you for that very amazing introduction. I'm just quickly trying to get my video switched on.
Here.
Okay. Just says I'm unable to start. Elfie,
Yeah.
I think you have to give me some permission to do so.
Oh, okay, hold on. Yes.
There we go. Can you see me?
All right. Yes.
Okay?
Yes. What time is it right now there? And where are you located?
Yeah, so I'm coming to you from Sydney, beautiful, beautiful sunny Sydney, and where my colleagues and I have come here to attend the Blackbird Sunrise event, which is a big conference festival for early stage startups,
Nice.
investors, and partners, everyone who's looking to make some connections, network around, trying to figure out how Zendesk can contribute and help. And just it's such a beautiful atmosphere. I was having breakfast with the founders this morning of Blackbird, and they're just so passionate about the entire startups ecosystem, and they want to see how they can help out best. I've been learning so much across the couple of days that I've been here, and I'm just hoping that I can have the opportunity to share some of these learnings. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone, wherever you're joining us from. My name is Abhi Chandrasekar. I go by Abhi because that's so much more easy even for me to sometimes to share it. And I am a customer success manager for startups with Zendesk. I've been with the company for about 5 months now, but before that, my career has pretty much been with startups or on the customer experience side. So I've seen a few things across my professional life that made me understand that these are existing trends, these are growing trends, and this is what we can keep an eye on. I've helped customers who have been accepted into the startups program to navigate through that first initial stages where they can go ahead and set up their customer support platform, understand what good customer experience is, help them, grow as they progress. We're in the startups program as they build out their product, as they battle a lot of external and internal battles, and overall just see where I can continue adding value. So on that note, I am going to share my screen, and please let me know when you can see my screen.
All right, now it's showing.
All right, can everyone see the first slide of the presentation? Yes?
Yes.
All right. Awesome. All right. So yes, as I was saying, my name is Abhi Chandrasekar. I am a CSM for startups with Zendesk. I handle, customers who are part of the startup program all across Asia Pacific. I've worked in CX. If I take out all the professional side of my life, I'm a big cricket fan. I'm a big Formula One fan. So if there's any other Formula One fans who are, joining us today, I know we're all excited about the race tomorrow. That's going to happen Monday morning, I think, actually, considering the time difference, but there's so much to look forward to. I'm a big movie buff, so, at times I have a lot of movie references that keep going on and on. But overall, I'm here because I'm hoping to tell you, or just share some, thoughts on exactly things like why, startups actually are able to grow and scale with us, right? So you'll see a list of names over here. Some of these names, globally famous brands. I know that Zendesk as a company, the background is in customer service and support. And from that starting point, we have expanded into sales and CRM, right? And it's some stage, just like all of these companies, just like all of you, participants who are joining us today, we were a startup ourselves too, and not too long ago. And we did provide some tools for some of the hottest names in the startup ecosystem, some of which you see there. So many of these companies like, Zoom, Instacart, Calm, Slack, they all started, they all grew with us, they all scaled with us. And what we're hoping to do is just, help you achieve the same as well. Right. And the reason I started off with that is just to take you a little bit back into the Zendesk journey, right? So you'll see a little timeline over here, and you'll see how in Copenhagen and back in 2007, you had 3 guys, 1 desk, who started off Zendesk. And then when you fast forward to 2021, you can see that, those numbers over there, about 4,000 employees, 4,000 brilliant people whom I get to work with day in, day out, more than 170,000 customer accounts that are there. When you look at all of this, you see that Zendesk was also a startup at some stage, and they have moved from one support product to providing a family of dedicated products. But what stands out to me is the fact that Zendesk also went through this startup journey, right? So you'll be able to see that the story has all of the elements that you're seeing here to go on a beautiful journey that we often hear about. You want to bootstrap to build a product, you want to raise capital, you want to achieve that, miraculous hockey stick growth, and the ultimate result, become a unicorn or go for IPO, right? So we are here today because of our fantastic products, because of our fantastic team that's been working very hard to give us products that will be helping out. And that's the thing, we all want to see how we can all go on this beautiful journey and get to that IPO day. So what can happen? What are the possible things that one needs to be aware of when you're building a CX-centric company, right? And I'll start with one aspect that's very, very crucial. And that's mainly because when you are an early stage startup, you have your product ideas, you have your PowerPoints, you have your pitch decks, you have everything. You're trying to rope in your first customer, or your 10th customer, and you know that your customer is the first real validation that your startup has, right? So at some stage between these product ideas and PowerPoint presentations and pitches, the customer can tend to get lost. And that is key for us to remember, why we go ahead and talk about making a company a customer-centric company. Because as I was saying before, your customer is the first real validation that your startup has. And hopefully it'll always be the most durable validation that your startup has. So that, in essence, what I'm basically trying to say is your customers are your priority, right? So where should the customers be in your company's journey and in your company's list of priorities? Is it a one-time thing? Is it something that you'll never be able to figure out? It's somewhere in between. The way you think about, where your customer fits into your company's journey and the list of priorities will definitely change over time, right? And here today, what I'm going to do is share a few shorthands, share a few top reasons that I have seen when I've been working with customers, that my fantastic team has seen when they've been working with customers. And hopefully these reasons, these shorthands will also add value to you as you progress about building your product, getting your name out there, and trying to make sure that you can win your customers and make them your priority. So without further ado, what I would say is there are a few top reasons on why CX or customer experience in itself should matter to startups, right? And point number one, it just promotes long-term customer retention. Whether you're looking to get your first customer, your 10th customer, your 100th customer, it promotes customer retention if your customer experience is spot on. So let's say if your company operates off, say, for example, a subscription model, right? Keeping your customers is pretty much essential. You want them to be repeat customers. You want to win them over as customers for life, if possible. You don't want to keep filling your bucket only to have the bottom of the bucket leaking revenue. So you are looking at winning over customers. You want them to be repeat purchases. You want them to go ahead and absolutely help you out and make sure that they grow with you. So when customer acquisition nowadays is so costly, and you really have to give up a lot of equity to afford it. So the top reason that I've seen is that it does promote long-term customer retention. Now, the second point that's there is that it establishes brand trust in the market. Now, if I go back a couple of slides and I look at those startups that you saw there who started off with Zendesk and eventually grew, they were all startup companies at some stage, and our names that we are trusting today. Like, we are on a Zoom webinar, and once upon a time, Zoom is actually, a startup that's there. So when you have a company that provides great customer experiences, it establishes trust in the market, right? So you're a new company, you're probably just getting your name out there, you're known by a few people. Building your brand is no doubt part of your go-to-market strategy. So what can you do? So if you get ahead of, say, your potential negative reviews that could be coming in, those points of feedback that your customers could be giving you, if you can get ahead of them to see how you could maybe prevent them in the first place. And there's because also there's no better publicity than when your customers are happy and they're talking about you. We all know how word of mouth is such a powerful tool. And if you have a customer who refers you to a friend, then that's increasing your business in terms of your customer acquisition. So getting that established brand name out there promotes trust, and it just means that you are the go-to brand for anything that you're looking to offer. So that's point number two. Point number three, your product roadmap through feedback, because there's this age-old saying that we keep saying, the customer is king. Now, I've seen instances, not just in my current role with Zendesk, but in my previous roles as well, where companies have so heavily relied on customer feedback to shape their product roadmap, because you can rely on customer feedback to shape your product roadmap, right? And with the right amount of sharing, you have your right amount of internal collaboration with your teams, you're getting good first-hand customer feedback from your product that you pass on to your product team. And that is incredibly valuable, because once your customers know that, hey, here's a company who's actually listening to us, who wants to grow, and also see us grow, then the more you shape your product roadmap, keeping your customer needs in mind, it is absolutely brilliant, because that is good customer experience. Now, that does not mean that, you're handing over your product roadmap entirely to users, but it also means that you're taking input from people who really want you to succeed and want you to create something that they will be paying for at the end of the day. So listen to your customers. When you listen to them and you realize that, yes, these are your items that should go into your product roadmap, you're absolutely going to be making your customers happy, having that extremely good customer experience, and at the end of the day, building a product that your customers would be paying you for. So that's point number three, look at your product roadmap. And four, cross-sell opportunities. Zendesk as a company started off as one support product. We have a CRM, we have a few other products. we realized that when we talk to customers, having good customer experience does contribute to cross-sell, and that should hold good for your business as well. Whether you're starting off with one product, whether you're starting off with two products, your sales and marketing motions will bring in customers, but it's your support agents who are using your help desk system and talking to your customers. They're the ones who will regularly hear more from your customers, and especially if you are a B2C business, right? So those on your team who are serving customers are actually your frontline defense, and they will be hearing more from your customers. And for all you know, maybe when I'm taking the example of how a customer can come with what's potentially a problem for them, but is actually a potential opportunity for you to say that, hey, we have another product that does this. So those on your team who are serving your customers, who are on the front line, can actually pick up, anything that's got to do with cross-selling new products and features. So having good customer experience, knowing that your customers trust you to come to your team and say, I've got a problem, can also contribute to, possible cross-sell opportunities. And finally, it can help with recruitment and team culture. I've seen instances where, companies prioritize so much about how, their team culture should be. And at some stage, it might not be, so obvious, because we're saying that, we're putting the customer at the center of your business, you invest in the right technology, and then you really help define your company culture because based on that. But I have a colleague who always says that, you can buy the right tools, but you cannot buy empathy. And that's, something that comes from the team culture. So if your support team, if the teams that are facing your customers, are going to be newly recruited, and, you look for them to grow with you as your team and as the team that's serving your customers, they will go ahead and be an active pipeline of talent moving throughout your company. So having good customer experience, having good internal collaboration, making sure that, with that recruitment team culture, not only are you making just your customers happy, we're making your employees happy, who in turn make your customers happy. So that's sort of how I do advise customers to look at it. Right now, we've looked at a little bit of why that you need to invest in the CX. Where are your thoughts? Have you brought in? Do you have a strategy already? Or will you go out there and develop one? We can see that. So that leads me to the next thing that we should be addressing, which is, how do you build the customer into your company's core, right? The way you think about it should honestly change over time, because your customer needs today may not be the same a year and a half later, or even 5 years later. So how do you build the customer into your company's core? So to explain this section, I'm going to take a few examples between how many customers you're having and how you should be approaching it based on these. These are just guidelines. They are not rules or regulations that I'm saying is meant to be strictly followed. These are guidelines that I have seen in my experience, that my colleagues have seen in their experience and have contributed. So let's say you are a company that's got 0 to 100 customers. These ranges, again, do not take them literally, because based on your business, based on your market that you're operating in, it could be higher, it could be lower. Like, for example, I would imagine it would be higher for a B2C company versus, a B2B company. So let me talk about what happens when you have your first 100 customers, 0 to 100 customers, right? And the key thing is, talk to all your customers and use their feedback. So, talk to everyone, they're using your product, collect that customer feedback, organize that feedback, go ahead and figure out, with users who are actually happy, who are angry. The happy ones will tell you what's working. The angry ones will tell you what are not working. Follow up with the latter, who actually give you a negative rating, who are angry. Because look, everyone loves a compliment, right? Well, it might be tempting to spend time with a lot of customers who are giving you those happy reviews. You will realize that you're able to gather more actionable insights, more actionable information from the one who are unhappy with your product, right? And with your product or service. So the bad ratings may look very uncomfortable, very unpleasant, and you have an angry customer to deal with, but they will be the most productive conversations that you will actually have. Your advocates, the ones who are giving you the happy reviews, will go ahead and make sure that they continue telling you whether they feel good or not so good about a product. But those uncomfortable conversations that you have with customers who are not so happy will give you so much amount of actionable insights that you can utilize, right? You want to amplify the users of the voice of your users internally, right? So you got that feedback. What do? You group it, right? You group them by cause, look for trends. I was talking about actionable insights. Look at what's causing it. Is there an issue with the product? Is it an issue with the team? How long are they taking to get back? Could you have done better in certain areas? Is there a certain type of query that's coming in which has probably been overlooked? And how do you go ahead? Is it got to do with documentation? You will find so many actionable insights that are actually derived from these sort of conversations. And once you collate all of these, meet every week to discuss what's happening, right? You have less than 100 customers, set aside, take the time to go ahead, talk to your team, understand, what's working, what's not working, brainstorm ways to find out, remedies for what are these underlying causes, because that's the power of collaborating internally, so that, if you are internally aligned, you will be externally aligned when you go back to the customer. So I'll give you an example of how a lot of these factors came together with one of the first case studies that I want to talk about, which is Slack, right? So Slack have been providing support along with Zendesk help since they were firstly in private beta in 2013. And as you would see, the VP of Customer Experience's comment over there, it's the fact that they took the time to form relationships right from the word go and do their best to get them to where they need to be. And I will talk about one little aspect which I've taken the time to highlight over here, the fact that the tickets duty was shared across the company. So what do I mean when I say that? Slack's team had different people who would go ahead and look at those incoming tickets. And as they grew, they made sure that this was a habit that was retained, so much so that the CEO of Slack also gets on to support once a week. And that is, that is leadership leading from the front and showing that, yes, you need to be involved hands-on. Because when you know that a CEO of a, big multi-million-dollar business is taking the time to listen to his or her customers, you know that they are being hands-on in terms of understanding how their product can improve. So Slack have been providing support since 2013. If you've raised queries with Slack, how beautiful their team are, how wonderful they are to work with. But that's the thing, the culture of making sure that, yes, we will make sure to get that best relationship flows top down, right from the CEO who's involved once a week in looking at those support queries. Now, these sort of things have been replicated to other companies as well, because a lot of people see the value in doing that. A lot of CEOs see the value in doing that. So I wanted to share this quick little, case study of sorts, how Slack have been effectively doing that since 2013. On that note, so companies like Slack eventually got to their first 100 customers and then had that massive jump where they went from there, the first 100 to the first 1,000 customers. And this is where you are looking to prepare, for scale. So if you have 1,000 customers, it's unfair to hope that you will be able to talk to each and every one of them like you were talking when it was the first 100. You're probably a startup that's looking to scale up. You're looking to get your funding. You're looking to get a whole lot of things understood on how you can approach this. So when you're preparing for scale, what can you do with the right resources, with the right tools that can help get you underway? So the first thing that I have there is you should not lose that connect with the customer. Previously, it could have been a lot of one-on-ones, but right now, as you're looking to scale up, you get your customer connected, regardless of where they start. You could have a customer emailing you. You could have opened up the channels of phone. You could have WhatsApp, Apple Business Chat. You could have any of these channels, right? So as long as you're able to collate a single view for your team to go ahead and look at all of these queries that are coming in, and you are prepared to serve the customer with the right amount of contextual information. So you get your customer conversations, into a single backend. No matter where or when the customer started, you have the information right in front of you. So that's the first aspect. And as you grow, and as you have more customers who are coming, with you along the journey as you scale it is key to invest resources to help, to build a help center. And when I say a help center, you would see a lot of companies that have got like, full-fledged FAQ articles, something as simple as how do I reset my password, up until performing the most complicated aspects where they have given step-by-step instructions. So those FAQs, the help centers, a knowledge base, a lot of things that you would, you would hear it termed as actually help, because in a way, you are empowering your customers to go ahead and self-service themselves, right? Because if your customers kept raising 100 tickets, 1,000 tickets a day, you would be playing catch up and not contributing to good CX. So in a way, investing resources in building a very good comprehensive help center helps you sort of achieve that ticket deflection that you would normally not get. And if you have, say, for example, or fully automated help desk system that's set up where you can use your macros or your triggers, you can instead of spending time typing out answers and step-by-step instructions, you could just, with a click of a button, have all of these embedded into your answers. And the last one is, as a business, when you grow, your tech stack is going to grow as well, right? So what is probably not critical to your tech stack, probably when you started off, a year later or 2 years later, it is going to be critical so that you can have a clear view of the customer. So like I can think of a few examples. I have one customer, Allbirds, who connected Shopify to Zendesk, because we were able to achieve that integration. I have seen other customers who look to connect Jira and GitHub, for all you developers out there who are working fervently day in, day out, so that you can link tickets to projects and issues, and then you can work on that. And one of the things that I've seen that's become a growing trend is how Slack is now integrated with a lot of support tools, because you want to be able to collaborate with your team internally, but you also want to make sure that the customer's kept in loop. So you can collaborate with the internal teams on Slack, and you can do that from a single pane of glass. So your tech stack is only going to go up as you scale up, and as you're looking to go ahead and get more nuances, like what does your customer journey look like? Do I have to record certain events, which I probably weren't relevant to me, I don't know, 18 months ago. So as your tech stack grows up, make sure that you can have something that will connect all your stack where your team can look at it in a single pane of glass. And I'll give you an example of a company that did really well, right? So when Limebike, saw its ticket volume just shoot up from, I think it was about 1,000 to 1,200 or 1,500, and it went up to above 8,000 tickets in the span of just 1 month. So at that point in time, they were using an Excel spreadsheet, and they knew it wasn't going to cut it because it wasn't a scalable or a sustainable solution. So Lakeisha Hayes actually says over there, when you're scaling rapidly, you want all your communication channels to be connected. So what Zendesk provided was more of like a unified omni-channel system that sort of helped them have multiple different channels. But the key thing was their onus was the tool should be able to give them quick responses, no matter when the customer needs to move. Because Limebike as a product, you find the bike location, you scan it, the customer takes the bike. At any of these stages, you could have multiple problems. So having the capability to give those quick responses was a key requirement. And it is, I can tell you that the Limebike team has got about, above 14 people working on them. They work 24/7 because of, the nature of their products. They've got people who help them, who support multiple languages. They've got people who talk to their customers in English, in German, in Spanish. They work, like in what we call the follow the sun model. And when they scaled up, they were really keen to make sure that that aspect of it was not taken away. So as you scale up with the right tech stack, with the right channels that you can get your customers to talk to you at, you will definitely, be able to scale up faster. I will also take an example of another company called Rike. So the long story short is that for every time they had about 15 users who visited, their help center. So Rike built out a help center where they wanted to talk about, if you have a request form, if you want to complete a project, what's the idea? What do you need to follow? So for every 15 users who visited did, these FAQs pages, there was about one ticket that was generated, right? And another benefit was that they had like help center and community connected, because one of the next stages is when you want to keep engaged with your customers, you build out a community forum, right? So you go ahead and make sure your customers can not just talk to you, but they can talk to other customers as well, right? Because that sense of community is then built out. So what happens is when Rike moved to Zendesk, what they shared with us was the fact that they wanted a whole lot more data to see where they could use actionable insights. They wanted to have a little bit of customized reporting, so they wanted to perform a whole lot of functions. They wanted to look at, I think, scale up aspects like APIs, which would contribute to their tech stack and figure it out. So all of these aspects contributed to that decision that, they wanted a tool that would not just help them scale up, but continue growing with them, right? So they've seen a whole lot of value now, and, their community forums are full-fledged, and they love the fact that not only can customers just talk to their developers and their product managers in those forums, the customers can talk to each other as well. So this growing community is absolutely amazing. And finally, what happens when you reach the stage where you have more than 1,000 customers? How can you continue being a CX-centric company, when you reach that magical number of 1,000 plus customers, right? And at that point, your focus goes ahead and becomes more team-centric. So you create processes, right? You find the right software, you use the right tools to drive productivity. You can, divide by tiers. You've got like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. You could do something like, you've probably opened up in like, 3 different countries now, and you want to support in those languages. You could probably use the right tool that's got, skill-based routing that will help you sort of understand that, hey, if I'm talking to someone in German, it has to go to this particular person. You can go ahead and look at performance metrics. You can look for customer insights. When I say performance metrics, I'm talking about how long is your team taking to respond to customers? Are they getting back to them with the promised time, right? Because that's the thing, when you have to stay engaged with your customer, you want to keep up those metrics that you tell them you keep up. So you establish those metrics, or service level agreements, as we call them. You continue to look away at your tickets. You pull out reports. You might pull out some custom reports. You might use a beautiful dashboard like Power BI, or whatever works for you. You look at actionable insights, and when you do that, you realize trends. You probably realize that there's a little bit of a declining trend over here, because I think the volume of tickets on Tuesday seems to have gone up 2x. So does that mean we have to invest at that point in time, because it's our busiest period? Right. So you'll find a lot of actionable insights. You'll find a lot of aspects that will, teach you with data, with concrete, comprehensive data, that you can actually implement a whole lot of, data-driven decisions. But all of that is based on, the tool set and, the team that is available with you. But perhaps the most important thing that I will always emphasize is that, about practicing empathy. So, and that is a culturally driven aspect, right? Like I was just telling you earlier, I have a colleague who always, reminds me that you can always get the right tool set, but you can never buy empathy. So, and that is something that comes in with good company culture. And we look at a lot of things where we encourage, our employees at Zendesk. My colleagues keep encouraging me to always make sure that I am being customer first. And the main way to do it is just to practice empathy. Try to listen to the customer, try to figure out what works for them, what doesn't work for them. And you'll have your answers right there just by listening. And to sort of cement that aspect of it, one of the last case studies that I really want to talk about is this beautiful, beautiful company called Novo, Bank Novo. And you'll see a little snapshot that I've pasted here of their customer experience timeline, right? So they had someone who was hired as their head of customer success in Jan. They implemented Zendesk in 2019. Fast forward to about 5-6 months from then, they're going ahead and doing a progress check, and they say everything looks okay. And by the time they get to August 2020, which is like a year and a half after implementing, you can see the numbers speak for themselves. They've had 10x growth year on year. They won Best Business Checking Awards as per Money Magazine. And you will also see, I think that is Money Magazine, I do apologize. But yeah, so I think the key thing was when they started looking at the data, right? So for example, when they saw that, sure, the time to first response, when you want to get back to a customer for the first time, was actually, 301 minutes. The CSAT rating was about like 73. With the implementation of the right tool, they were able to sort of bring that down to like less than an hour. And you can see how dramatically the CSAT rating shot up. CSAT is customer satisfaction rating. It's one of the metrics that they've measured always. So as you progress with time, as Novo continued using the capabilities of the tools in collaboration with their tech stack and everything, the growth that they saw was on the positive side, right? And it only just kept getting better. So, and even though they increased from 10 to 100 to 1,000 plus customers, they could continue catering to what they promised. Because they were able to treat their customers with empathy. They were able to go ahead and segment their users the right way to understand the journey, and at the end of it, just deliver value to their 10,000th customer, just like how they were delivering value to their first customer. So, and I think that's amazing when you're able to achieve that with the right combination of people, tools, and empathy. So I wanted to share that little snippet because I thought it was very interesting, and it's very inspirational for any startup that's looking to go the long way. So I spoke about some shorthand, some ideas that you can look at. I'll move on to talking about some aspects, things like taking a periodic inventory. And when I say inventory, I'm not talking about just doing a check of what tools do you have, what do you need, what do you not need. Those are requirements that you will take a call on from time to time. What I'm referring to in terms of is when you keep checking internally with the team, you will understand that aspects like accountability become key. So what do I mean by that? Well, firstly, when I say take an inventory of things that are actually good for you. As you progress, you will have KPIs. As a team, as an individual, you will have KPIs. You will have to review them from time to time with your leadership. You'll have to seek insights, right? And that leads back to that aspect that I was talking about, data-driven decision making. So you will review these KPIs. You will understand, what works, what doesn't, if you have to change anything, if you have to maintain anything, and figure out what needs to happen. And that will also influence, the different parts of your customer journey. So at what stage you're hoping that you want your customer to start a trial? Do you want to, hit them with that straight away? Do you want to go ahead and probably ask them to, get a little bit of information first? And it also talks about, how you as a company, your marketing teams will now look at product related communication to customers. You don't want to keep spamming them with, information that's not relevant for them. So when you keep taking a periodic check, when you take accountability of all the different departments, right, there's cross-functional teams in your organization, you will notice that it sort of shapes in the other aspects as you go along. And eventually what happens is when you share the highs and lows across your company, you play as one team. You want to look at how the cross-functional teams can work together. You share the wins, you celebrate them, you learn from the losses, you learn from the feedback that's given, and you share that. You automatically become one comprehensive unit. So all of these aspects, when you put them together, becomes something that's a sustainable, scalable process that ensures that at all stages of your growth, you are going to be a customer-centric company, right? And all of that just sort of translates to having moral good behavior. And you want to make sure that you have that with your employees, because if your employees are happy, they're going to make your customers happy. Essentially, what all of these help out with is the fact that it's not just a one-time thing. You cannot do this once and realize that you just ticked off a box in probably one of your to-do lists. This is all about rinsing, repeating, rinsing, repeating, rinsing, and repeating. So as as I was saying before, you will be at various stages of growth, and you will have to make a lot of decisions at the various stages of growth. And as you go along those stages, you will have to know how to adapt and serve your customers accordingly. And I think the key takeaway is that you can have the right tools, you can have the right people, you can achieve empathy by practicing that. But unless you rinse and repeat it to make sure that it stays within your organization, you will have to, keep doing that accountability check from time to time, right? So with that being said, I want to talk about, what Zendesk does for startups, for the startups. And, we have a Zendesk for Startups program for which, I'm helping out as well. And this is also sort of embedded with like a special promotion for Endeavor Indonesia startups. So essentially, if you are eligible for this, you will be able to get 6 months free of the Zendesk Suite and the Zendesk Sales CRM, and you'll get 15% off your annual subscription after your initial 6-month period. We have quick start sessions with our startup success team, which I'm going to start handling as well, which basically makes sure that at all stages, right, you are covered. Like, we created the Zendesk for Startups program to make it easy for you to get to know and experience value from our products. We want to be a part of that journey to get, to give you that expert help that to ensure that you're onboarding and scaling from day one. And, I spoke about community. We have a fantastic community with other founders and other CX leaders who want to know, what they can do to serve their customers better, exchange of ideas, and all. I've seen startups grow. I've seen them grow based on, how they've implemented this, and you get all of that. Elfitra, if I could ask you to just share the link on the chat to all our attendees today.
Yes, I have shared it to the attendees.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you
You're
very
welcome.
much. And to be eligible for, to be a startup that is eligible for the Zendesk for Startups program, you should be a new Zendesk customer, 100 employees or lesser, and you should have Series B or below in funding, right? And if you are a startup that, falls in this criteria, I highly encourage you to apply with us, to join with us, and, let us help you. And, we will be thrilled to watch you grow, and we'll be thrilled to watch you grow with us as well. I'm just mindful of time as we come up on the hour. But I will leave you with one quick thought, because before I open up to questions, I just want a takeaway to be the fact that, hey, here's how we can help. We as Zendesk, we're champions of customer service. We've had some most innovative customer experiences from our customers that have been built out based on our company. CX has been in our DNA for the last 13 years, since the first day of our inception. And we're built with the best CX practices that you will see in our products, that you'll see in our team members, that you will see just overall from start to finish. So I will wrap up with this video, and then we can probably open up for a few questions.
Zendesk makes customer service software, and it works right out of the box. It is also completely customizable and scalable, and connects to the rest of your business. But no matter how you use it, Zendesk is designed to help you give your teams what they need so that your customers get what they want. Let's say your customers mostly send you emails, but some conversations are better over the phone, and maybe you'd like to start using a messaging app as well. In Zendesk, it's easy to add any new channels you need. And for the agent, this is all one conversation in one place. Collaborators are just a few clicks away. Same for knowledge articles, apps, even tools and information from other systems you already use. All valuable context about who you're trying to help and how to solve their issue. But perhaps your business is growing and your support operation is getting more complex. Zendesk lets you customize and optimize the whole picture, like by routing tickets to the right agents based on expertise, or automating which tools an agent sees based on the type of question. As your teams become more organized and productive, your customers get faster, more effective service. And with our built-in analytics that track just about everything, you'll also understand how to tie it all together. Like when you identify a question that's trending, so you assign an expert to create a new self-service article, which you feed to our AI-powered bots without writing any code so that when the next customer reaches out, they get the answer they're looking for immediately. And hopefully they feel very good about your company. Well done. Start your free trial today. Zendesk makes customer service software, and it works.
Sorry about that. So yes, all this and more that you can definitely obtain with that startups program with Zendesk. And like I said, I highly encourage all of you to join us. But yeah, on that note, I would like to say, thank you for your time. And Alfitra, I'm happy to open up the floor to any questions that will be there.
Sure. Thank you very much, Abhi, for all the information and the case studies. We do have several questions during registrations and during the webinar. I would like to condense it into like 3 questions maximum, because mindful of the time. And I'm going to deliver the questions to you. And I think some of the questions may already been answered, but feel free to give a compact answer on that. Okay.
Sure.
Okay, so the first one is during the registration, we received a question from one of the Indonesia's health and wellness startups. The person is asking how to enhance omni-channel experience for startups.
Interesting. Okay. If I may, let me sort of flip this around a little bit, right? To all our attendees over here, I just want to ask how many of you are actually aware of what omni-channel is, or what is the concept of omni-channel? So probably a show of hands for anyone who's aware of omni-channel or have used omni-channel. Can we have a show of hands?
Yeah, we have one hand here. So maybe he can help explain a bit about the omni-channel.
Okay, so I think essentially, I will give you 2 scenarios, right? I'll give you 2 aspects to this. So when you want to talk about enhancing omni-channel, I'm going to say that all these terms that you're seeing, omni-channel, unified customer experience, all of these aspects, at the end of the day, what you're doing is you're looking to go ahead and serve your customers correctly, right? So before you get to the omni-channel aspect of it, I would say first, it would be key to understand what your customers want. So the moment you understand that, it'll lead you to, look at what you need to provide in terms of the right experience for, and I'm saying this only because, this is a startup that I'm talking about. So before we get to understanding the trendy words of the omni-channel and understanding how things would be there, I would say first try to understand, because these words don't matter if you do not understand how you want to talk to your customers. And so that is the first thing that I really want to call out for startups, right? Now, the other aspect is coming to omni-channel. The idea of omni-channel was created to understand that if you have multiple customers located in different parts of the globe, they could reach you through different channels, because social media is such a powerful tool nowadays, right? One tweet about a brand can bring down its image. One tweet about a person can just bring everything down. So social media is such a powerful tool, and you want to get to that as soon as possible. Omnichannel is best used when you want to achieve that balance of synchronous and asynchronous sort of responses that you want to give to your customer. What do I mean by that? Think of the channels that you want to open up to a customer, right? You have things like email, which involve the customer emailing you, and then there's a little bit of back and forth. You're hoping that that doesn't cause too much of a negative customer experience, that you can go ahead and, before you go ahead and solve the customer's query. And then you have aspects like phone call or, live chat with a customer, because nobody wants to wait. Everybody just wants to talk to a person and get their problems resolved. So when you're able to achieve that perfect balance between understanding how you use synchronous aspects like chat, phone call, WhatsApp messaging, and all of these in combination with things like how if someone emails you, you're able to cater to them. That's how you will enhance your omnichannel capability. So it's more of, again, that rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. So I would say even before you get to that, my recommendation would be to first understand if omnichannel is a requirement for your customers. If you need to serve your customers, do you need omnichannel, or do you first need to understand what their requirements are?
Thank you, Abhi. We'll go to the second questions. The question came from one of health tech company. I think the participant is here as well. The question is, how do you grow and scale up the CS team in a startup company? What are things that startups should pay attention to?
Okay, no, really good question. As a startup, you are probably worried about a lot of things. If you're looking at your next round of funding, you're probably worried about that. If you've got, a product backlog that you're looking to get resolved, you're worried about that. So as you're looking to navigate through all of these internal and external battles, I would say data is your friend. So if you know you're looking at the right data and you're using the right data to have that data-driven decision making, that is what is going to help you to understand, how you can go ahead and grow and scale your customer success team when you're a startup, right? So I've always looked at, customers who tell me they want to stay on top of their customer satisfaction ratings, because that is obviously a key indicator, right? You have your CSAT scores, you have your NPS scores. Those are valuable data to understand, how your customers, what's the pulse of your customers that they're feeling, right? And if you know that, there are improvements that need to be made with your team, those are early indicators from the customer side. But on the other side, you're also looking at how you can go ahead and make sure that if you say, hey, customer, all the responses, we get back to you within 24 hours, just to make sure you want to adhere to that agreement, that service level agreement. So if you see that, you're sort of breaching that, automatically you have to do something to go ahead and, cater to that requirement. I think the key essence of that is, it's never too early to start measuring these things to understand what direction you need to be heading towards. But the underlying aspect is, if you know that you are looking at the right data, you will see that that data is your friend, and it'll help you drive and make those decisions for you to scale and grow.
Thank you, Abhi. Should anyone would like to ask a follow-up question, you can also reach us after the session, so we can deliver the question into Abhi. And I think it came to the last questions from the attendees here at the webinar, from anonymous attendee who's asking any example on how push notification will boost retention, or how effective it will be.
Okay, so I would say there are a few ways in which push notifications have actually added value, right? So I think I'll give you a very generic answer, because I do not have context on what sort of a business you have, why you're looking to use push notifications. Is there anything else that you can actually be doing instead of push notifications? So I'm a little bit low on context right now, but I'll give you an answer based on the experience that I've had, right? I've seen that a lot of startups and companies in general have used push notifications when they actually want to keep their customers informed all the time. You could send an email, the customer may or may not look at it, because they may lose it in their inbox, they could be held up with something else. And in the day and age where you have a lot of smartphone users, if you are an app-based company, then push notifications is actually going to be more effective than just having an email for every other aspect, right? So that's one example. Does it boost retention? I would imagine so, because you would go ahead and make sure that if your customers are in the loop, they will go ahead and be happy with the fact that yes, they are aware at all times of what's going on, and that contributes towards good CX. Is it effective? Absolutely. But how will that work? It's definitely something that I really want to explore more with you. I think, Elfita, you mentioned it's an anonymous attendee. So I'm very happy for the attendee to sort of email me, give me a little bit more understanding on what they're looking to head towards, so that I can give them a more contextually relevant answer. This is very generic, just a disclaimer, because I need a whole lot of understanding before giving you that answer.
Okay, Abhi, thank you very much. And I think we almost came to the end of the session. Thank you for the interesting topic about building a customer-centric company. And if I may summarize from the session, I found one of the slides really useful. It's about top reasons customer experience should matter to startups. The first one, it promotes long-term customer retention. The second one, it establishes brand trust in the market. The third one, it can shape your product roadmap through feedback. The fourth one, it helps identify cross-sell opportunities. And the fifth one is it can help with the recruitment and the team culture.
Correct.
So thank you once again, Abhi, for this. Thank you, everyone. And we hope that this webinar can enlighten you all about why customer experience matters for you, for startups. And the recording session will be uploaded on Endeavor Indonesia YouTube channel, and we will share it to everyone. And Abhi, is there any last words before we sign off?
No, thank you, Alfita. You've been a fantastic host. Thank you to Endeavor Indonesia and everyone in your team who've been absolutely amazing. Thank you for the opportunity to do this, and I'm just looking forward to having more such opportunities.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Abhi. Everyone signing off for today. Also, see you all again in another webinar from Scale Up Growth Program. Stay safe, stay healthy, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Everyone.